Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Single No More, how to feel confident that you can meet and keep your Mr. Right this year. Now, I say feel confident because we believe that you have the power to meet your Mr. Right. It is in your control. There are so many things you can do, and we're here to give you those tools to feel so super confident that this is going to be your year where you meet your Mr. Right. Now, I have an amazing guest today, Kimberly Seltzer. She has a plethora of knowledge and experience because she's a therapist, certified style and confidence coach, dating coach, matchmaker, and she has helped thousands of people find lasting love and connection, attract success, and build valuable relationships using her unique confidence makeover process. And I just cannot wait to get into all of it. Now, she actually uses an outside-in approach, and she has changed lives by changing their styles, emotional and social intelligence, using her signature formula, the charisma quotient. So I can't wait to hear all about it. And then it's working on body language, first impressions, image and messaging, and how it impacts attraction. Now, she has been on countless media appearances, but is also the leading expert on this traveling live dating show, The Great Love Debate, and the cable reality dating show, The Romance. And you can also listen to her now on her podcast, The Charisma Quotient. And she's currently is hosting the Flirt Academy, which is having workshops nationwide. Wow, it sounds like a pretty fun job, Kim. Let me tell you.
Well, it's a fun job, and I'm always like laughing when I hear my bio being played back to me because, I mean, as great as all of this is, and it's been such a fun journey, really. I mean, the reason why I got into all this really had to do with my personal journey, and you and I were talking about this before we went on.
Yeah.
We're always our own best teachers every single time, and that's really why I'm so passionate about doing what I do, because I had to go through my own transformation, and it wasn't until I had kind of my red dress moment, I will say that, until I got out of my own way and, started having all this magic happen that you heard in my bio. So.
Wow. Before we go into it, I really want to hear a little bit more about that journey as to really how it happened, how you got into this. What were those transformation moments for you? What did it feel like? So just so we can understand where it's coming from.
You want the long version or the short version?
Oh, we got time.
It's like, how much time do we have?
Yeah, we got time.
And actually, my story, I always like to tell the story before I dive into this stuff, because sometimes people listen to, my experience and be like, oh, well, like, how can she even understand where I've come from? And what I'm about to tell you is really what transformed not only my life, but also my business. So before this, I used to be a therapist in a traditional sense, and from Chicago, I had kind of the traditional life. I had, the dog, the picket fence, the kids. I still have the kids. Husband, don't have the husband any longer, but that's part of the story, right? So everything was going on as planned. And what happened is we all pick up, we move here to La La Land, and I joke we do it all the other people here do. We get a divorce, and obviously there were issues, going on. A lot of issues going on in this fairy tale, but in all seriousness, I just remember, like, this is kind of where the record stopped, right? And I honestly didn't know what I was going to do with my life, because at that moment, there was no way I was going to be a therapist, because if people had come to me in that moment of time, I would have been like, you think you have issues? Like, I'm going to go on the couch for a second because I cannot help you, because I couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
And the whole, like, the clothes piece and the outside in thing happened when, and this really happened, I was in this like dark period, right? And my clothes reflected it. I had, young children at the time, but I wasn't nursing any longer yet. I had the nursing bra still on, I had these big, like, oversized mommy clothes and stocks, and I hated what I looked at. When I looked in the mirror, it was just like, I can't believe what I had become. I really lost myself. I lost my way, and I didn't know how to get any kind of self-esteem back or confidence back. And that's why I love this, whole summit that you're putting together, because so much of what stops us is ourselves and how we feel about ourselves. And so I remember looking in the mirror one day and getting so fed up And so fed up that I'm like, you know what? I've done the therapy, I've done the work, I have a great support system, but I'm nothing's happening, nothing's shifting or changing. So what does a girl do when nothing fits her?
We go shopping. Just kidding.
I go shopping. I don't know, but that's exactly what I did. And I'm like, I could just use a little lift me up. And I know it sounds superficial, but I just needed to feel better in my clothes. So I go shopping, and what am I doing? I'm pulling the same stuff out. Black, oversized, too big. But I think I'm up leveling myself because I'm getting new clothes. And this personal shopper, she's looking at me, right? And she comes over to me and she says, "Ma'am, I've been watching you, and I really think you should try this on." And she holds up this red dress, and it looked like 3 sizes too small. I said, that's really nice of you, but that's not my size, and that's so not my color. She said, "Honey, that is your size, that is your color. Try it on."
Wow, love it.
It's like, boom. And that was my red dress moment, right?
Oh,
like
I love it.
Me over the head with that red dress. And so I'm like, you know what? She's right. I'm even though it doesn't feel like me, I'm going to try it on. So I slip it on and twirl around like Cinderella. And I look in the mirror, and this time it wasn't what I saw before. It was a totally different woman. And I was like, wow, she's right. Like, I just hadn't seen myself in so long, nor had I really seen myself in this way, And so I decided to buy that dress that day as almost as a costume. And I say a costume. Right. And sometimes you have to wear things and act as if until you become, just like in Halloween, you see these shy girls put on these vixen costumes and all of a sudden they're like these sexy mamas, right? And so I really did. That's what I did. I would wear the red dress around, and I just started practicing being seen. Because here's the thing. I realized I was hiding. I was hiding in my clothes. I was hiding in my mindset. And the clothes was just a vehicle. It was like my cocoon in ways to protect myself, because I didn't want to be seen. I was scared of those aliens called men. Like I had no clue how to talk to them, and I didn't think I deserved anything other than, I was just a frumpy mom in my mindset.
Right.
So that's where it all started. Up until that moment, I used to practice from the inside out, and I truly believed as a therapist that you had to do that. But now I don't believe that any longer. And the way I practice and help people is I work from the outside in. So I start with the way that you present yourself, your clothes, how you feel on the outside, your, body language, your presentation, your first impression. Then I go inward and I work on emotional intelligence. And then we take it to the streets, so to speak, and I work on your social intelligence. And those are the 3 ingredients to my charisma quotient. Your style intelligence, emotional intelligence, and social intelligence. And when you kind of put it together, it creates this charisma that gives people confidence, because you're this magnetic thing that is creating magic everywhere you go. But it's really about the self-love.
Right. I mean, we've spoken about it a ton on this summit, about the self-love, self-worth, being happy with yourself, who's showing up in the world. But at the same time, I think it is undeniable that how we feel in our clothes and how clothes can have such an impact on how we step out into the world. Why is that? Like, what is it about clothes? Is it?
Well, actually, there's scientific proof. It's not just me being this like here LA girl saying, "Oh, image matters," right? Actually, there's scientific proof and research that says, first of all, the definition of image is how others perceive you, and that determines how people treat you. So people are making judgments and assumptions based on 2 things, and this is what happens in the brain. It's based on the clothes that you wear and the attitude that you have. And so what you say isn't even as important as how you show up. And from there, obviously, people get to know each other and that kind of thing. More than that, it used to be 30 seconds for first impression. It's 7 seconds now.
Wow.
That's what you got. And so if you can work on those first impressions and how you show up, it's the way you're marketing yourself, right? There's this symbiotic relationship between the outer and the inner that will increase your confidence. Because if you're getting that positive feedback from other people, you're feeling better about yourself. And so what I love teaching people when it comes to the clothes is teaching them about their body type, what clothes flatter their figure, what colors they should wear that creates attraction and getting them noticed, and I work with actually both men and women. And I just find it fascinating how much psychology goes into the clothes, the color, the cuts, all of that, and how we like impress upon people. So it's all this other stuff takes time, takes work, the deeper stuff. I love that this is instant.
Yeah,
it's the quickest way to like start working on your confidence and building that up.
I couldn't agree more. That I was just saying, I feel like this is just something that you can go into a makeover session, and a few hours later, you could feel like a whole new person, which just might give you that confidence then to start working on the inner, or just that little boost of energy, or like we said, confidence to get out there and feel like you're attractive and feel like you're deserving. If we don't feel that before for any reason. Oh my gosh.
It's true. And I don't know how you define confidence, but when I talk about it with people, I don't believe that there's one person out there that's not confident. There may be areas in our lives where we're not confident. So I define confidence as experience. Because there's areas where we might feel really good, right? Like we may be great at our job, but once upon a time we weren't. And so how did you get to be confident in your job? You had experience and you got positive feedback for it. So it increased your confidence. That's what I'm doing here. Like when I'm building people's like wardrobe or style, I'm giving them experience around seeing something different in the mirror, just like with my red dress moment. I didn't have that experience before. I had to go out in the world in that costume to get that experience. So I can then, oh my God, you mean now I can smile and talk to a guy? Because now I'm not scared about being noticed. So it's like those baby steps and those little wins add up to the bigger picture of creating confidence.
And I love that you're doing it as well in the dating sense, because I feel like this is just such a booster for people. I mean, I always got the question, how are you so confident? And I didn't have a good answer. I was like, I don't know. I just feel like I've always been. I'm happy to chat to people. Maybe I don't have a fear of rejection. But again, you're right. Like there are certain areas that I'm probably not that confident in, but for this one, I was. So I agree with you. I would probably say it's as well as just being comfortable, comfortable in your own skin, because I think people can feel it. They can read it. But like you said, I loved what you said about how showing up is about the clothes and the attitude. I think that's just phenomenal. And I guess as much as we want to say, oh, other people's opinions don't matter about us, we care what people think when we go out and look. And we love getting compliments. And thankfully, women are very good at doing that for each other. But it does make us feel good. And that's kind of undeniable.
Well, and here's the thing, I sometimes I'll talk about this stuff and I can almost see the eyes rolling like, oh, this is so superficial, and, if a guy doesn't like me for me, then F him, like all of this stuff, but here's the thing, and I really want to emphasize, is this is not about changing who you are. It's marketing yourself. And so that guy gets to know who you are. I compare it to like websites, right? And let's say you have two websites and the websites have the same content, but one's really old and, maybe it was built in 2005 and it's not changed, right? Yeah. I'm just thinking about this because I'm redoing my website. And then the next one is really slick. The branding's beautiful. The colors it looks professional. Same content, but which one are you going to choose, upon that first impression? Most people are going to pick the more professional, updated version. The content was the same. The inside never changed. But our perception of this is that we trust the more professional and the beautiful one first. And so this is how all of our brains work. And I don't care what anybody says, both men and women are visual creatures, and so that's why I love working with this is one of my specialties, is working with online first impressions as well. Yeah. And, I was working with a woman the other day and, she was really fighting me on her pictures. She's like, look, I just want a guy to know my lifestyle. I want to show that I go bowling and I fish. I said, look, your lifestyle pictures are awesome. And I love that you're active and a guy will love that too. But if you look like crap doing it, he's not going to even get to know this part of you. So you have to think of it as advertising, right? And so she changed up her pictures, and we put, some pictures with her, like her in a beautiful dress and her hair done and more approachable, feminine, and dateable. People, this is a dating website. This isn't LinkedIn. This isn't a scrapbook. This is, and so when she did that, she got a whole new inventory of guys. And actually, fast forward, that new inventory, that cycle of guys, one of those guys ended up being her boyfriend.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
And it started with that first impression, that marketing piece. So yeah, this is the beautiful and fun piece of it, and I really like to make it a fun thing.
Yeah. I think what we need to realize in dating is that we are playing the attraction game, Yeah, I feel like a lot of women, they like to sit back and almost have like this disclaimer, but they need to see the real me. And I'm like, they will once they get to know you. But when we're, like you said, when we only have maybe 7 seconds or maybe even less on a dating app, you gotta be eye-catching, right? And I love what you said about it's not changing who you are. It's just almost presenting what you can be. Maybe you don't even know what you can be. Do you find that a lot of these women don't even know what they're capable of?
99% of the time, to be honest, and that's what I love. I love helping people just see how beautiful they are. Like there's nothing. I wish I had a camera for every transformation that I do, because the emotional piece that people kind of convey when they see themselves in the mirror for the first time, or and they're all done up, or because I do photo sessions as well with people, and they can see themselves in the photos. But more than that, when they finally start owning it, I actually, right before doing this recording, I was on a phone with somebody that I'd worked for, gosh, it was about 3 years ago, and we did a whole makeover process. She came, we did like the inside out therapy, we went shopping, we did a photo shoot. It was so powerful that from that moment on, she really started doing like a lot of work on herself and that kind of thing. And she just said to me, she's like, Kim, everything has finally come together. When you told me I was hot, when you told me I was beautiful, I didn't believe it at the time. She's like, I now see what you see. And that was like, that's all, you can hope for. And I always say, men love women who love themselves. It's not about the man, what we're talking about. Because when you see yourself sexy, and I do all these flirt sessions and all that kind of thing, it starts from just how you see yourself, and the clothes and the body language are great vehicles at which to get there.
I love it. That's your new line. See yourself sexy. That needs to be your new thing.
It's my tagline.
But as you're saying it makes so much sense how it's like almost like the guy can't see it because we're not seeing it, and
yes.
So why do you think we haven't, for the women who don't even know how sexy they can be, why do you think this is? Have we just never tried the clothes? Have we never pushed outside of our boundaries? Why do you think this is?
It's a good question. And this is where me being a therapist kind of comes in that, I treat everyone as unique creatures. We all have our own journey around everything. And so when I work with people, I actually get a really good history. I want to know everything from the time they were an embryo, from their family system, from their ascribed roles growing up, because when you trace things back in time, you see where it all started. And so some of it may be just messaging they got, growing up. I was working with a client the other day where her femininity was literally squashed, because she wasn't, because of her culture and religion, allowed to unleash that side of her. There's so many, nuances. A lot of people have had some abuse in the past, and so they've turned that part off with all these fears that are attached to it. And so that's why before I go shopping or go flirting with someone, or really teach people just what we're talking about, I really like to understand where they came from. And I always say this: if you want to change your story, you have to go back to the beginning. And you have to start changing the beginning of your story. And that's why even just having people see themselves differently, or having them put on a pair of leather pants where they never thought they could wear that. I like to push the boundaries, a little bit, just outside the the comfort zone so that they can start seeing something different. Because otherwise you're staying the same. People don't change staying the same. I know that sounds almost elementary, but it's true. It's when you're getting uncomfortable is when things start changing. So I like to put people in discomfort because that means it's something you need to work on.
Yeah, I love that. It's almost like you're saying, we've been saying a lot about the beliefs that we hold and ones that aren't serving us, and this will bring those up. And they could be, it's just amazing how down this path of dating, then you can see how they show up or could be limiting us.
Yes.
I also love that you were talking about how it might actually bring out our femininity, like this feminineness. And I don't know, I think maybe some of us, we just don't, I don't know. I'm not, are we scared of it, or is it like, is it individual, like?
We live in a really interesting time right now. I think we're in a state of recalibration, when it comes to femininity. Gone are the days of my fair lady. Like, we can't go back to that, but, women, we're getting so powerful in the workforce. We are becoming more independent. And quite honestly, like, looking at the history of time, women weren't allowed to work and fend for themselves and take care of themselves. And now that we're able to, there's almost like an overcorrection that's happening where women are forgetting how to receive, forgetting how to allow a man to give to us. And that's part of what men find so pleasurable. I mean, this is like caveman stuff. A man wants to provide and protect. And so I think, and I see this, that there's definitely generation differences, because I work with all age groups. And I think, I'd say that, 35 and under have a very different definition of femininity than, 35 and older. And so I think it's somewhere in between. Like, we can't go back to the My Fair Lady, but we also can't, be this, like, have this armor on and be this, like, masculine, like, don't touch me, kind of thing. So I think it's kind of, finding that sweet spot where we're allowed to, receive and be feminine and enjoy that softness and allow that to happen. And so that's why I love working on body language around that. I love working with messaging with women. I love working on it in the way their costume reads, and all of those things will help with that feminine energy. But that doesn't mean you're losing your sense of self and that independence that you carry. It's really like a balancing act now.
Sounds like it's all skills that we have the ability to learn, like anything. Like, I could not play an instrument, but all of a sudden I can learn it. It's just kind of like the same thing. It's not changing you. It's just, can you learn to do this? And this is what works. And what you were just saying about the body language and the messaging, I feel like that's what's really needed. It's just those, not quick tips, but just really quick changes or things that can be implemented to just really change the game up a little if you're not seeing that success in your love life.
Oh, totally. And like body language, for instance, it's so huge and it doesn't take like a lot. 93% of communication is nonverbal. I mean, that's crazy if you think about it. So, if you knew that just by making eye contact and smiling will give a guy a signal that you won't bite them, that you won't reject them, that your cab light is on. Think about the opportunities that will arise for you, because this is what I see happen time and time again. I'll go up, do a wing girl session, and women will say to me, I don't know why guys don't approach me. Like, there's no alpha males out there anymore. No, 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 no. But then I see their body language, and they have the resting bitch face on. Their arms are closed. They look like they're angry. I'm like, what guy is supposed to approach this? And it's amazing when you take the blinders off and you start just looking around, because when you start noticing guys noticing you, you're creating more connection and opportunity. And I've had many, many people meet their boyfriend or girlfriend, for that matter, out and about when I'm coaching with them. Why? I didn't plant those people, but they're suddenly just creating an energy that allows and invites that in.
I love that. I love that. It's so true. Something we can quickly change. And it's a lot easier to change than just saying, oh, is some men supposed to appear here? I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Like magical thinking,
So I love the fashion side of it. I love this piece because this is clearly your area. And I just wonder, why is it a skill we learn? Why do we not know how to like dress ourselves to look this way? Or are we just not trying to? Is it like, is there a special like dating uniform that's more encouraged? Or is this clothing for our everyday lives? Because otherwise we're hiding ourselves.
Well, actually, I'm very scientific in the way I approach clothes, and this is why it kind of takes the emotion out of it if you look at it more in a practical way. So there's a couple things around that. I have like a formula, and everyone can do this right now. I call it the 3 C's. And, the first C is really looking at the cut of clothes. And I'll give you a little hint. I'm giving a free guide at the end, and that you'll be able to know what figure you are. So once you know your figure, your body type, your 5 body types, and you're going to measure yourself, then you know what cuts flatter that figure and what cuts to stay away from. So that in itself will make you look really different in your clothes, from the collar, like, even just like how the collar is falling, to, like, should you wear a boot cut, skinny jean, where things should fall on you in terms of your skirt line, all of that stuff. And really, I find once like my clients get it, whether I'm shopping with them or I'm doing like virtual makeovers with them, it becomes faster, and then it increases your confidence in your clothes because you look better. You know what to put on your body. The second C is the color. Everyone has different colors.
Glad you brought this up, because I was always trying to know if this was true.
Yeah, no, colors are huge. I will say, when it comes to attraction, men are attracted to red. Again, there's actually scientific proof that they are. So I always say, like, if you're going on a first date or your online picture, you should always have one red dress in your wardrobe of some sort, but make sure it's the right red. So this is what I was going to say is, there are different tonalities of colors that flatter different skin tones. So like you and I are blonde and a little bit more fair skin. There's different colors that are going to look good on us versus someone who has more olive skin or dark, tone. So I like to teach people their colors, but also color really is part of attraction. I see women playing it too safe out there. They'll wear the beige, the black. Why? Because it's easy. And that was me. I told you my story. And it's only like if you're wearing it all the time, or if you live in New York, obviously that's, I'm going to say there are regional like differences with colors. And I even see that when I go in the stores. But for the most part, you can even wear all black and look really hot and sleek. I'm not against black. I think black's awesome. But could you pop a like red boot with it, or a hot pink shoe, or a red lip? It's fun to play with color. The third C is what I call confidence clothes. And that are, everybody has an outfit in their closet where it's kind of their go-to outfit if they had a social event or a date. Take that outfit out, take a look at it, try it on, and figure out what it is about this outfit that you feel good in. Is it the cut? Do you get complimented in it? Do you like the way it feels? When you're feeling confident in your clothes, you do read differently. Like, you have that business meeting and you nail it because you just feel good in your clothes. The same thing with a date. So even just working on those 3 C's will help you in your clothes. The other thing I'll say around what you asked about is knowing what the opposite sex finds sexy. And here's the thing, ladies. What we find like pretty in each other, guys don't necessarily think that. So, there are some tricks and things that I teach women of what men find sexy that you would be surprised about, because we tend to dress for each other. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah. I've had my fiance say that sometimes, where he's like, he totally agrees that certain things, they just love the tight, they love the C stuff. Whereas again, I think we go very fashion and eccentric, and sometimes, I agree with you. We're dressing for the women rather than the men. So
or the trends, like it drives me crazy. Like I look on all these like morning shows and they're showing the latest trends, and I'm like, no guy's gonna think that's sexy. I'm sorry. Like maybe it's trending, but I can't even see her figure. It looks like a moo-moo or whatever, So I know how guys think, and you gotta really like think about your dating wear as again, I like to call it a dating costume. Always have something to wear that's different than what you're wearing during the day, because that also makes a difference energetically. Like put on something intentional that you can feel more sexy in. Like don't go into a date like you're going into a board meeting with like a corporate jacket. You know, take off a corporate jacket, put on it like a cute little leather jacket with a cami underneath. Like you can even just switch a few things out that'll make a huge difference.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And did I hear you say virtual makeovers?
Why, pray tell you did. I'm glad you caught that. I know. No, it's one of my specialties. It's really fun because I work with people all over the world. Not everybody can fly here to LA. And so I do these 1-hour sessions where I get on a Zoom call, kind of like what we're doing right now. And I create virtual closets for people and I teach them about their body type and we do virtual shopping and I pick out outfits and you get like little lookbooks at the end. And it's all according to your body type, your lifestyle, and also like if you have a photo shoot coming up for online profile, like what also outfits might look good online too.
Oh, that's so helpful, especially for the dating sense. That's like the full package.
Yeah.
Help my life, help me in my dating life, and help me on the profile. What about those women? Because I can probably hear a lot of people saying, oh, but my body type's not right yet, or when I get to this, then I'll shop for clothes. And what advice do you have for them?
Well, two things. One is, how many times in your life, first of all, is this a pattern for you where like, well, I'll go shopping when ... or I'll go online when ... Usually I find that there's a pattern and there's usually some fear wrapped in it. So what I'll say is there's never going to be a perfect time. Yeah. Just get something out there, so either get something online or get like one outfit that you can feel fabulous. You don't have to wait until you lose weight to still feel sexy and fabulous, and I like to teach people different like kind of clothes that they can get that will move with them too as they're losing weight. The second thing is that the body types actually have nothing to do with your weight. I just want to be really clear. So the body type guide that I'll give you, I'll show you really what we're measuring is your proportion, your bone structure. So it's your shoulders, your waist, your hips. This is how we're born. Now, there's obviously weight issues that different women have in different areas of their body, and that goes along with your body type. But really, when you just look at your silhouette and the structure of you, when you start there, it actually will give you more confidence in your clothes. And then the key is to emphasize areas that you really love about your body and de-emphasize the areas that you don't and conceal them in different ways. And so that's another thing that I really like doing with women is helping them see what body parts they love. We're so used to picking ourselves apart and looking at things on our body that we hate. See this over and over again in the dressing room. Oh yeah, this looks good, but I don't like this. I'm like, what's this? I don't see that.
It's part of your body.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, I was shopping with this woman. I'll never forget. She was drop dead gorgeous, and she was kind of falling in the friend zone a lot. So I really wanted to work on getting a lot of dresses for her so she could practice being in her feminine. And she came out of the dressing room in this gorgeous green dress that, I mean, literally everyone in the store just stopped and stared at her. She looked amazing. And she has this look on her face like that. Like, what are you reacting to? Like, you look amazing. And she's like, no, I don't. Do you see this? And she like pinches this little like roll that she was like really getting caught up on. And so what I said to her, and what I usually talk to people about is like, if you are constantly like focusing on things you don't like, then you're not going to feel good in your clothes, and then you're going to exude that outward, right? Like, because you're not going to feel confident going out. So it's really important that you look at, so if you love your legs, then like show them off, get short skirts, get those skinny jeans, because then you'll feel, better as you're walking in.
I'd say those are probably two that men like as well. I remember hearing somebody, they're like, I don't know why the mini skirt ever went away, but that is just the best. Like,
oh, they love it. Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. They don't care about the trends. They just want to see the body. They're like, I don't care if it's in style or not. I just like your legs.
Yeah. They're like, I don't know why you moved away from that. It's just the best.
Right. So true.
So are you able to give women, it sounds like you're able to kind of set them on the right path to based on their body type, what colors look good. I love that you incorporate the body language and all that, because that just takes the full breadth from clothes to date and beyond. Are they able to, with that knowledge, kind of shop for themselves beyond that?
Oh yeah, that's my hope and my goal always, is to teach people how to shop on their own. My goal isn't to have people be dependent on me where they're calling me all the time. And that's the thing, I'm not a stylist. You know, I'm an image consultant. It's a little different, where like I really like to do more teaching than anything, and looking at people holistically rather than putting like just, you know, styles on people because it's trending. There's a difference between style and fashion. And that's the thing that you have to think about, is that my goal is to get styles that are everlasting. Okay, fashion is the trending thing that comes and goes. So you really want to focus on your style, you know, and getting pieces that will last you time and time again. And then, you know, it's fun to incorporate trendy pieces as you go in and out, but just because something's trending doesn't mean that it looks good on you. Right? So you just got to be aware of yourself.
It's almost like I feel like you've given everyone permission to just wear what looks good on you and get out there with that, not feeling like you have to follow the trend and get new clothes all the time. And that's great and all, but there is a specific style that looks good on you. And I think that's going to just make a huge difference to women. It still is mind-boggling or fascinating how the style just can totally bring out a different you. And I guess obviously it's because the reaction we get, but yeah, it's absolutely
exactly. Well, it kind of goes full circle for, like, you know, how we started, you know, talking, and even just what the summit's about is it's about that confidence, you know, and you know, even and this is what I tell people all the time, even if there's like one thing you can do, and this would be, I guess, my kind of little piece of advice going out into the world, one thing that's maybe different in each of these little ingredients that I went over. So is there, like, if you never wear heels, could you get a pair of heels that are still comfortable, that fits, you know, that fit your lifestyle, that is not going to like cause you to break your back, you know, and I work with people all the time on different kinds of heels, but practice just moving in heels. You notice a difference in the way that you feel, the way that guys look at you, the way your legs look, like, you know, and just practice wearing it, just like how I practice the red dress. In terms of like your emotional intelligence, practice how you express yourself. I do a lot of work on, you know, expressing feelings and vulnerability and how that shows up on first dates, you know, in a very very authentic way, in a storytelling way that's fun and playful, but you're still expressing yourself. And then in the social intelligence, you know, what can you do in your flirty style, the way you're communicating with guys, you know, how can you turn your cab light on? Maybe it's just making eye contact and just practicing that for a week and seeing what happens.
Yeah, I love it. Oh my gosh, I couldn't have said it better myself. Is there anything else that we haven't covered that you would like to share as far as confidence and when it comes to dating or image or anything? Is there anything else that you can think of that we haven't covered?
No, I mean, I think that's it, you know, and I just want people to realize that it really is all about you. And when you start feeling kind of what I call it the charisma glow, where people start noticing you, where maybe people didn't notice before. Like my clients will say, Kim, it's so weird. My friends are saying that, like, they're asking me if I got a facial or I lost weight. And I'm like, no, you got the charisma glow. It's because they're putting themselves out there. It's a magnetism. And this is the fun piece, because once that clicks, everything else starts falling into place. It's when you're burnt out, you're in that dating fatigue, you're in the victim mode, you're feeling bad for yourself, you think there's no good guys out there. Like when you're in that, but that's what you'll attract, you know? And I know everybody talks about the law of attraction, but in this case, you can use your clothes, your body language to attract something very different. And that will create that confidence.
I love it. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Confidence is such a big thing. And like I said, I'm here as well to empower women, knowing that that it's in their control, you know, and there's things we can do to see the success in dating that we want. So thank you so much. You have a gift that you mentioned before. Please tell everyone how they can access that and also learn more from you.
Oh yeah, so it's the free body type guide that I talked about before. And like I said, I go over how you measure yourself and you'll determine what body type you are. And from there, you'll learn what clothes flatter your figure, what clothes to stay away from. You can kind of take it with you when you're shopping and see what you can do on your own. But I will say, once you download it, you do get a discount to my virtual makeovers. So if you want to take it even to the next step and have a private session with me, we'll kind of knock it out of the water and I'll get really specific. So
Who knows? Maybe that could be your birthday gift or something to yourself. You get a you get a, not free makeover, but a makeover, and you treat yourself, and it could set you on a new path. And it's something that you can do right now. So thank you, Kim, so much. This has been an absolute pleasure. I've learned a ton. Thank you for clearing up the colors for me. But,
you look amazing in red, by the way. I just want to say.
Yes, but I have learned again that it's the certain type of red, because I had two
Yes.
reds one time and someone said, this is your red, that's not your red.
Yes,
So,
yes,
oh,
definitely.
okay.
Well, thanks for having me. So this is great. And I love that you're focusing on confidence, because this is at the end of the day what it's all about. So
Absolutely. I mean, everybody wants it. We all want it. These are good ways that, again, can help you, and it's all to benefit us. So then therefore we can get the relationship and the man that we've dreamt of. So thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.